What's up, guys? Welcome to another video, which today is a fanfic reading, as you can probably tell. Yep, and it's gonna have Fluttershy in it. Tried to get one where Aria Blaze. His last ones have got Adagio and Sonata, but couldn't get one with Aria Blaze. But maybe if I look hard enough, they might make one. There was actually one cool one I was gonna have with Wallflower Blush, but it was rated M and it was like a porn one, so like that. I either keep it E for everyone or T for teen. You know, because there's hardly any swearing in it and it's got some good stuff. Me and everyone else can have a look at it, but I don't like the matured ones. So without further ado, let's just get into it. This story is called Advertising. As always, I only do one chapter, and the chapter name is called Advertising. It is made by J. David. I think it's the same people where did that Sonata one. This has got Sour Sweet and Fluttershy in it as well. So, oh yeah, I forgot. I hold the camera. I held the camera in my other hand. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. The park in the middle of Canterlot, while not the busiest of places, not the busiest of places, nevertheless had a fair number of people going to visit it, especially on weekends and on bright, sunny, warm days. It was especially so. Such was the case today, as the lush green place was abuzz with activity, be it people walking their pets, couples and friends hanging out with each other, or to some random joggers doing their daily exercises. But in the middle of it all, there was a lone girl, Fluttershy, standing by one of the statues in the very centre of the park. The CS student was at this very moment holding a pile of flyers, eagerly offering them to anyone who passed her by. But as anyone with knowledge of Fluttershy and her efforts could tell you, this was having little effect, as few, if any, of the people who passed her even looked in her direction, much less accepted her flyers. So as was so often the case, the animal lover soon signed, sloping her shoulders slightly as she glanced down to her unwanted papers. Rough day, eh? Looking up, a smile came to Fluttershy's lips as she saw who it was who had spoken. Sour Sweet of Crystal Prep. Oh, good afternoon, Sour. I wasn't expecting to see you here. Chuckling, the other girl stepped closer. I could say the same thing about you. When she'd reached her, Sour looked around, seeing the completely disinterested looks people would occasionally give Fluttershy, before finally resting her gaze upon the as yet untaken flyers. So, having trouble? Sighing again, Fluttershy nodded. It's alright, I'm used to it by now. Sour frowned at that. I've seen you in the animal shelter, Flutters. I know how much you care for it. Trust me, you shouldn't ever be used to being ignored when trying to do work for it. Fluttershy looked away slightly. I realize that, but nobody ever seems interested. Considering that, a smile came to Sour and she placed her hand upon Fluttershy's shoulder. In that case, I'll help you. Fluttershy's face lit up at that, but only slightly. You will? Placing her hands upon her hips, Sour nodded. Yep. Remember, you helped me get my dog under control a while back. Figured it was time to return the favour. Before she knew it, Fluttershy watched in surprise as Sour took a handful of flies from her, turning away and looking out to some of the people who were still walking along. The path they were on. It took a few moments, but finally Sour focused her gaze on one person in particular. An older man who only now was starting to walk past the two girls. Excuse me, sir, but would you be interested in supporting the local animal shelter? The man only gave them a brief glance as he walked. Sorry, I can't. Fluttershy, of course, was a little dejected by this, but Sour didn't seem bothered in the slightest. That's okay, I just figured a man like you would care more than that. Hearing that, the man stopped, looking to Sour with some confusion. Excuse me? Fluttershy, for her part, was a little taken aback by this, and was frankly looking from the man to Sour, then back again, all while her companion continued. "Oh, forgive me. I just assumed you were the kind of person who cared about the plight of all the homeless or hurt critters this town has." She shrugged her shoulders, but I guess I was mistaken. Turning, she looked at Fluttershy. "Come on, Flutters. I don't think anyone around here is going to help us." Fluttershy said nothing, but was soon being hurried along by the Crystal Prep girl, all while the older man watched with some hesitation. While Fluttershy would have wanted to ask what was going on, she was kept from doing so, as Sour leaned in closer and whispered to her as they moved together. 3, 2, 1. "Now hold on there, missy." Sour cracked a smile, before then looking to the man once more, trying to look as innocent as possible. "Yes, sir?" The man, trying to look as composed as he could under the circumstances, sauntered up to her and looked her right in the eye. "Now, I never said anything about not caring. It's just, well, I haven't got much time in the day for that sort of thing." Sour nodded to this, making an effort to sound as understanding as possible. "That's perfectly fine, sir. You're not the first to say that to us, and you probably won't be the last." Now, of course, Fluttershy knew full well that this was the first person Sour herself had spoken to. But even so, she remained quiet as the man replied to that statement. "I don't know what kind of colours people you've spoken to, but I assure you I am far from considerate about the well-being of animals than they are." Sour clasped her hands behind her back. "Oh, I'm sure you are, sir. But like you said, you haven't got the time to help out." Again, she sighed. "It really is a shame. Who knows how much the shelter would be helped with some of your obvious talents lending a hand." As before, she shrugged her shoulders. Well, guess we'll just have to ask someone else." But she didn't get the chance to turn around this time. But she didn't even get the chance to turn around this time, as the man then placed his hand on her shoulder, stopping her. "Wait." The two girls looked at him, and he in turn seemed to struggle with some internal decision, before puffing out his chest and putting on a smile, if only a forced one. "You know, now that I think on it, I probably could go down and volunteer for a bit. Maybe make a small donation, that sort of thing." Sour seemed surprised at this. "Truly, sir, I wouldn't want to ask too much of you." But the man shook his head. "No, think nothing of it. I'm happy to do my part." Having now said that, the man reached forward, taking one of the flyers from Sour, who smiled in an appreciative way to him. But before he walked away, he stopped, taking a few more from her shortly afterwards. "I think I'll take these to some of my friends later on." He took on a look of pride. "Let it never be said I won't spread the word of a good cause." Sour clasped her hands together, looking as giddy as a child. "Oh, thank you so much, good sir. You truly are a saint." Chuckling, the man walked off, clearly looking very pleased with himself, but as soon as he was far enough away and out of earshot, Sour rolled her eyes somewhat before turning back to Fluttershy. The latter naturally had an utterly gobsmacked look on her face, which Sour couldn't help but chortled her. "Well, I'd say that's a good first start, right?" Shaking herself out of her trance-like state, Fluttershy looked at her colleague with awe and asked the obvious question. How did you do that?" Looking rather proud herself, Sour looked around briefly, making sure nobody was listening in on them, before leaning closer and whispering to Fluttershy, bearing a knowing smile as she did so. "If all else fails, you can always bank on people's need to look better than they are." The end. Well, guys, that's my fanfic reading. I'm not sure if you guys like it or not, who cares, but yeah, give your opinion if you want. I just enjoy reading fanfictions to you guys. Well, guys, that's it. So join me tomorrow for as you've guessed it, a review. And yes, it will be the My Little Pony movie. Well, guys, bye.